Okay. Why
Are
did
you
it,
looking
it
for Chromebook
says,
Accessibility?
yes,
Did we
yes.
change the...
You changed it's not room 319.
I'm going to go to 319 really quick. Did you have anyone in your room?
I didn't when I was in there, but
Okay.
then I was helping out the room next door,
Sorry.
which is using my Chromebook.
I didn't see it.
I thought I was in the wrong.
I know, me
I'm
too.
like, oh wait, maybe I'm in the wrong room. I wanted Chromebook accessibility, yes.
Yeah, the thing's following me. You would think that would not be beta for face recognition because that's something that I've had, yeah. You should just have a drone flying in here, it'll follow me.
Hang out.
Bam!
Buzz by your ear.
Was there 2 rooms listed? Because I got the
Well, we have
picture.
my room and we had his room.
Oh, it does say 3. How come I wrote it?
No one.
But I
No
wrote
one
I
ever.
wrote it down correctly, and now I'm looking at it, and it says 319, but...
I changed it then. I thought it was in your room.
I thought I moved it as well. But...
What up?
I must have saw it yesterday and it was still 323. Because I'm like, wait a minute.
No, you're good.
As
'Cause I don't even think I
comfortable
changed
as
it yesterday, so I don't know.
Okay.
So welcome back.
I'm sorry.
Put this in here.
Were you in there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Who's in here to go over there?
Wait,
The
like,
only person that had to move was Defoe, just forget it, it's fine.
It's okay then, right?
well, I went down to novel, and the lady's like, because I thought it was like something they could like do snap and read without it sounding like a robot. And she's like, it's not that, and I was like, oh well, I guess I should.
Hey, but I really want to see you using that. I'd love to see you reading a book and it making all these noises. You could probably have a business on that.
That one is a fun.
I already make a lot of noises. I sing songs. God, I shouldn't say this stuff out loud.
It's okay.
I do. I like singing in class, and like it's.
That's great. That's
It's
awesome.
like I gotta compete with the telephone, and I try hard to compete with the telephone. Like, you guys think I'm animated in the way I interact with you? Nothing compared to the way I interact with the students.
Yeah.
So, like,
Last year I told one of the sessions that I thought I saw a wolf driving a motorcycle down Kimberly when I was coming in. I was like, people probably think I'm nuts. But you know what?
Here
I
goes.
came in at another time.
We don't eat our classmates.
I came in another time coming down Kimberly, and I did see it. It was some guy that had a helmet that had like wolf ears on it. So I was not totally crazy. It wasn't just because I was tired because of boot camp.
Yeah.
There was a motorcycle driver that has a helmet that has wolf ears on it.
when I was working at Williams, I went through the plot of Home Alone, and I got to the paint cans, essentially having them believe that that was my experience as a child. Being left at home. And then, like half the staff here for yearbook pictures, we dressed up in costumes. So, like, I don't know if you saw my shirt yesterday, the frog, because
Yeah.
this year's costume is I'm going to be a frog, and let's say DeFrog. Last year I was DeFrodo. I dressed up as Frodo.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
Let's get rolling.
Yep.
Welcome to Chromebook Accessibility in room 323, formerly known as 319. Formerly known as X, formerly known as Twitter, formerly known as the artist known as Prince.
I don't know what Prince has to do with it, but we'll go with
It
it.
has everything to do with it.
All right. So in this session, we're going to talk about the accessibility features that are already built into the Chrome, either their apps or they're under the accessibility features. So the main thing is to help out students with special needs, but you also have how do I turn this thing off because some kid accidentally turned on Chromevox and it is reading the entire page. And I literally have kids walk in and be like, here, it's speaking. So it's main thing is, okay, how do we use these for students that need it? But it's also, how do you turn that thing off? All right. So oh, yep.
The first part is just how do you get to your accessibility features, because it's something that if it's not enabled, you have to go into your Chromebook to enable it, and then you'll start seeing these wonderful options here. So I'll walk through it first, or talk through it first, and then we'll show you the visual and then do it. And if you haven't turned it on and you know this is something you want to check out, you can do it along with us on your own. Just please don't press the Chrome box, guys.
We're going to press it, though.
At the bottom right, you're going to select the time area. That'll pop up your window. You can also do the shortcut key of Alt-Shift-S. Noel's great at shortcuts. I'm not. I'm a mouse button click person. Once you're there, you're going to select Settings, and then at the bottom, select Advanced. And then there's in the accessibility section, you'll click into that and then manage accessibility features. There's a little toggle button that once you turn that on, then you'll be able to access all of these other features in there. So visuals on the next slide here, I'm just going to do it. We click down in the bottom right corner, and I actually have this already turned on, so the little guy's there. But we're going to go to the settings gear, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to have the little guy that's got his hands out. Apparently, it's universal for accessibility. I just want to hug, please. No. I don't know what the icon is or the reason for it. But if you click on that, sure enough, it says show accessibility options in quick settings. There's a little toggle as well. And then you'll notice that all of our accessibility features are in there.
I wonder if the district has it where it's just on automatically now, but it doesn't have the icon. Because it was on yours, right, when we looked at it?
Yeah, but I had already done it.
Yeah, that's true.
So someone that's doing it completely new. And so you see, I didn't even have to click the advanced setting for that. It was a toggle.
Yeah.
So now it should show within your quick items here.
Yeah, before last year, you had to go to advanced, which I thought for accessibility, that's a little too much. So you just go to accessibility, and then you don't have to search for it. It's not hidden. You just look for the guy.
Yeah,
Or
the
a
guy
gal,
is
I don't
very
know,
advanced.
whatever.
Yep. So now it's in here within your quick pop-up, quick settings. So you don't have to go digging through the menu settings. Obvious reasons why it's buried that far in is you don't want students who shouldn't be in there just messing around and playing. It's like ISAF testing. You don't want them to flip through every color of text, right?
So there is a, I don't know, when we recorded this last year, and it was just me and Dan, because we didn't have anybody come, it was like over an hour. I'm like, oh man, this is going to take forever. But the purpose of this is just kind of introduce you to these and show you what they are. So what we're going to do, can we go down?
Go next one.
Yeah, so there is a ton of stuff. If we go a little bit further, we'll come back to this one. There's a ton of stuff on each one of these on how to use it. So let's say it did come up where you needed this for a student. Go back to this presentation, maybe bookmark it right now, go back to this presentation. There are videos that I don't remember the guy from last year, it's some guy from Kentucky. Yay, Kentucky if you like Kentucky. But he had all these videos and things and GIFs that I put in here and Dan we put in there so that you could use those to help you later. But right now, our main thing is just going to show you. You can explore it. We'll talk about what generally it is, and then if needed, you could go back. This would also be something if somebody got something to add to their IP, or you don't know what the best accessibility features is. That's a great time to call in your tech innovator and have them help you out. What's available? What do we got?
So the biggest one, easiest one, is making things easier to see. I love this quick shortcut key for this one. This is like the only one I can remember. In Control-Shift-T to bring back your last tab. Those are like my safeguards. Increase the size of your browser content. You can use the Control button and then use the plus key to enlarge, minus key to subtract or decrease that. The rest of the desktop is unaffected. If you want to just snap back to regular view, press Control-0 and you go back to that 100%. So I'm going to go Control and minus button. And you can see, here's what's funky, and this is true for the tablet too. It's almost doing like reverse of what we're talking about, right? So I'm decreasing the size of everything within my browser.
Right.
And then the content actually in the browser is what's expanding. And it's going to be opposite if I go plus button here. We found that with the tablet too. We're essentially moving the menus out of the way and shrinking those. And then as I increase, oh, there goes the browser content. Sometimes kids snap that, and when you enlarge things, things get buried, and you can see there's a delay, and oh my gosh, am I 6 back? Am I 5 forward? Where am I at now? Control-0. Again, we'll reset that. There's also the reset button that pops up, and we're back to home base.
Or they'll bring it to you and say it's broken. Or this app is not showing. So that Control-0 is just I mean, when I see that and it's like all messed up, I'll just hit Control-0 right away just to get it back out instead of trying to.
A quick troubleshoot and trying to figure that out as well. Control-Shift plus is increase of everything. So notice everything in the content is there. And I should.
Yep, Control-Shift-0 will do.
It's gonna mess with our,
Oh,
it's gonna mess with
that's all right.
I was thinking the magnification where you can scroll.
Oh,
So that's a different setting.
I think it's the next slide.
And then Control-Shift-0 resets me back. So the same idea, one's within the browser, one's whole screen, right? So Control-Shift ±0, or just Control ±0.
Yeah, it is. I think it's Control, and you scroll up or down, and it will zoom in and zoom out.
I know, there's another one that we'll get to that.
Is that what you just did?
No. Okay. Let's go on to the next one, because we'll jump into that.
Hey, do you want to just go? Can we go back up to, and we'll just go through the menu? That way we can just go down the line. Or do you want to go?
Oh, not on the slideshow, go to the menu.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted.
Okay, so the first one.
I just minimize this.
The first one is Chromebox, which this is the one that you will hear when you go in. Now, this reads everything on the screen, which we don't have.
Again, everything.
Oh yeah.
Plug your ears for a quick second. Okay.
Sign out button. Shut down. Toggle Bluetooth.
You can,
Show accessibility.
Okay, so this is a good one to know. Control-Alt-0, or Control-Alt-Z turns it off.
and you can see the little toggle button up top, or the display menu that appears up top, and it's enabled.
So the reason that you would have that, and it comes back to life. The reason you would have that is a student that's visually impaired. Sometimes even we had a student. Is it not stopping? Sorry. It's okay. We had a student that was completely blind, and they were using Braille, and a Braille keyboard, and they brought me in, and they're like, hook this up, and I'm like, I don't know Braille, and that's all you've seen on it. But in that case, the School of the Blind comes in and works with them, but that's one of the things that you would see would be Chromebox, and they use the Braille keyboard to help them read on it. But it's not necessarily something that every student, it'd be someone that has that visual impairment, and that would normally involves more than just the tech engineer.
Landscape.
And anywhere that you hover your mouse.
Change
over,
Right.
background.
it's
Pull
gonna read
everywhere.
everything.
But
And
that's
search bar.
the thing. If it
docs.google.com/presentation/d/8.
when you first enroll a Chromebook, and if you don't click, if there's something you don't click Chromebox, so we'd have like 10 of them we're trying to update, and they'll switch to Chromebox if you don't have, and then they just start speaking. So, but it is a accessibility feature for.
Next one is the select to speak, and what's nice about some of this too is you can see these little blue check marks that appear next to these icons. You can click on these so they're not appearing down at the bottom. So as I click, if it's something that I use frequently or a student uses frequently, you can sort of preset those. Some of them, not all of them. Obviously, there was a Chromebox that popped up for a good reason.
Some kids find it and they just check.
So select to speech is one of those. So you can see that little pop up down there. I could just click on it and access it, or now it's in a quick menu button option. And when I click on, let's open up something.
Chrome Canvas Screencast https://
Okay, Jesus.
You do have more control over this than the Chromebox, though.
Let's go with something that we can read. All right, right.
Little Red Riding Hood is a European fairy tale about a young girl.
So you can see, I can select something. You can see the text area that it's reading from. You have playback options. You can slow down. There's a 0.25, 0.5.
I think there's a 0.5.
And you can speed up as well. So you can see that.
Girl and a Sly Wolf. ... Its origins can be traced back to several pre-17th century European folk.
And then you can skip
Adaptations
through.
about Little
you can
Red
use
Riding
this to
Hood.
navigate just as you would.
AmericanLiterature.com. HTTP.
Sorry, I have a habit of talking while that's going on. So you're like, where should I listen? You have the ability, just like a track player, right? CD player, skipping, moving ahead, fast forwarding, those kind of things. So it's nice. I know, Noel, you probably prefer snap and read to this, but it's available. It's built in. It's not an additional.
A lot of times they will put in an IEP, they'll put snap and read. but just because it has some different options as far as like a PDF reader, that if it's an image or it's a PDF, snap and read might be a little bit better if you use the Photoshop thing on there. Yeah. So if you don't click, can we try this shortcut? I know you're not.
Try just. Oh.
So if you hold down the magnifying glass or the everything button. Oh. Yep, and then if you click and drag over a word, let's see if it'll go ahead and turn on. So
Search
you can,
results. Main results.
you don't have to go down and
Little
click
Red
at the
Riding
bottom.
Hood.
You can also turn it on by clicking the magnifying glass and dragging over the top of the word, and then it will automatically come on.
77% liked this
Yeah,
one.
you can.
Okay.
Hold
You
and
guys,
drag.
I would encourage you guys to try this stuff out as we're going through it, because we want to hear it from every. No, not.
And sometimes, yeah, just pop open a Chrome browser. Maybe not just go to a search result, but go to text truly. So I was going to Little Red Riding Hood and go to like a free PDF here. So
Once upon a time, there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who.
now the next question is, if you don't have accessibility enabled, you still should be able to do that feature right off from the top.
I believe, yeah, because there's kids that don't have Chromebox on, and if they do Control Alt Z, it will turn it on. Which I don't know how you randomly press Control Alt Z.
Or not Chromebox, but
Yeah, well, any of
turn
them.
the accessibility.
Yeah, yeah. If you use the shortcut key, it will turn it on.
And again, this is one that you can bookmark down at the bottom as a little quick press button too. Coolio? You guys want to test it out? I thought you guys were all like ready to do it.
Because I don't want to like turn it all on, but I just want to use it.
So if you click the drop arrow,
Yeah, if you let go of it, it'll pop up that menu. But if you press and hold it,
and
just like you're
then,
copying something in a
so you want to turn
highlighting.
that one off and click Select to Speech. Okay, so now if you go and click on a word, but
And
the way you can turn it on easier is you hold the magnifying glass, hold it down, and then click and drag over the top of the where you want to read. Yep, see that's the purple box.
2023 Tech Boot Camp Schedule Master. Rename.
So that's just an easier way to open up that feature.
Master. Adrian Howard, Evan Mosher, Ashley Sullivan,
They use.
Oh wow, it
They
actually
have to
reads
use
the
the actual-
humans that are in those bubbles of it.
Master.
Now give it to
Okay, so how do I make this setup?
this purple. You got
Okay,
press and
it's
hold.
got a track thing.
So that has a little X there, and you can pause it. You can.
Here, maybe
Then I can take it away down here.
Yeah, you
I
can.
just have
You
to
go
go
back to the
back to the
accessibility
thing
and
and-
uncheck it.
Get rid of the blue check.
Yeah,
Right.
So I don't have to enable anything unless I just want to hand enable it all over here. So I didn't have to go.
No, if you use the shortcut keys, but I don't remember those ones all the time.
Okay.
But if a student was going to use it every day, that would be something. To me, it's easier than scrolling down, clicking on it. Just hit the magnifying glass, drag over the top.
Okay.
So Noel, is that where you just?
Ever use
Does
that
it go
magnifying glass?
off automatically?
I had to pause,
It's called the.
otherwise it'll continue
They call
to-
it the everything button, and I'm
So
like,
it's
nobody
not
would.
enabled
It's the
that
nothing button.
will
Yeah,
go
never.
Well, it does a lot of stuff. People just don't know about it,
I
though.
don't think I've ever.
Yeah.
used that button.
Well, it's used multiple times in this. It's used in the next one.
Okay.
Now it's enabled, and you can just
I
hold
mean,
and
obviously
scan.
I can click it and you can see
Okay.
all the stuff, but I've
If you
never.
don't want that in your browser,
Okay.
so Noel, we did have to enable it on accessibility. She didn't have accessibility feature turned on,
Okay.
and when we did that, and then clicked the select to speech, then we were able to.
Okay, so you got to enable it first.
So it's not just a universal Control Z. All right, on the next one.
Next one's diction. Oh, did we do diction?
Oh, we did. Sorry.
I think I just.
Sorry.
Okay, so can you open a search? Okay, see how the cursor's blinking in here? So we went to the next one right below. If he clicks on that,
Yeah, and again, I placed the diction in my button press down here, so I'm just gonna click.
help. Oh, you got too much there.
Help.
Okay, the reason I said help, if you go to a search bar and you're using diction and you press help, it brings up the document telling you how to use it. So,
And YouTube video. Enter. So some of these, I struggle with this one. We use a lot of speech to text with Google stuff. And this one I don't necessarily think has the backspace, right?
I think it does in Docs. It's a little bit better, but
Cincinnati Reds, backspace, 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 undo, delete all. So you can see there are some functions within, some commands, basic commands that can help you navigate through, so you don't necessarily have to type and then fix later, right? Like all of my text messages to anyone.
and you'll see the diction icon. It's not just the accessibility. I mean, you see the microphone, the diction icon all over that. You just click on there, and sometimes kids have no idea how to spell stuff, and
First time use, you may have to allow microphone or camera for these kind of things, but
they can search that way too. Google Docs has one underneath Tools. You can open the diction tool and go through there. I have been, last year for a 4th grade class, there were some students that were really struggling with their writing, and the teacher wanted them, they had IEPs and things, and that was one of the things, and they used the diction tool.
yeah, so slow.
Que te pasa, calabaza?
Looks a little different now.
Did they pass the Calabasas? I like to change the language. So, well, that's what I've seen.
Yeah, did you indicate a change of language, or you're
So
just
that's
speaking
what-
in another language?
I'm speaking in another language to
And
see
see
what
if it'll
it do.
auto-detect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or did not. But,
Now, it'd be interesting to go back in, if we can select what the language is for the Chromebook, that would be a question, something to search a little bit later.
Right.
Deeper. Going on color inversion,
Ooh.
easy as that.
Yeah,
Turn
it
on,
used
turn
to be high contrast mode. I don't know why they changed the name, but now it's color inversion. It's right there.
When might I use this? What kind of stuff?
I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I do know that some individuals that have dyslexia, that they will use this because it makes things easier to see. I don't know if that's universal. I just remember a student that had it, and that's what they used.
We also had a student who had major eye issues over at Walcott, and just major eye strain, fatigue. This helped relieve some of that, right? Not as intensive on the eyes. Yes, you can turn down brightness, but in his case, he actually needed to increase brightness in order for everything to come out a little clearer. And he's literally sitting this close to the screen just because he has to. So, again, this sort of helps with that change and
Right.
gives the eyes a little bit of a rest and a little bit of break for that instance, for sure. Full screen magnifier, I guess I'll go wrong with this one.
Yeah.
This is just literally as it says. What's nice is there's no guesswork here.
Is it going?
Why is it not enabling?
We'll just have to wait like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
mine
that's-
went right away.
Did it?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Normally goes right away.
Maybe I need the update.
The only thing, so if it ever does turn on, where you put your mouse is, and it will go around. But you can also use the tab key if you click, and you can click tab, and then it will move around.
Okay.
So that helps. Sometimes it's hard to drag and get your way back.
Yeah, so hopefully yours will be working. My Chromebook doesn't want to work at all.
Oh, maybe it's because we changed the display settings. He's like,
Oh, because we're sharing out, but that didn't happen the last time. I'm
Did
going
it?
to unplug here for a second. Nice little troubleshooting with live. We had a Chrome moderator downstairs that went to.
no, I mean you went into display settings and you changed it so it would appear here. I don't know if that would happen. No, I don't think so.
No, I'm not
I don't
gonna
think
get
so.
this on this end either. Great. You love your Chromebook.
Yeah. I'll just go back there and say, hey, I need this now. Your presentation's over.
Yours popped up right away for you.
It did.
Yeah, and this can be a little disorienting for some because, again, where you're moving your mouse is essentially saying, all right, come follow me, and your entire view drags that way too. I like the next one. I think the next one is in this. Yeah. So this one's sort of cool. If you go to the next option down, it's, hey, that popped up. So now anywhere that I drag my mouse, it essentially takes the screen, it lowers it to the bottom 2/3, and then anything I hover my mouse over, it magnifies in the top half. I think this is a little less seasicky, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where the other one's a little disorienting. But again, for the student that I was talking about, we had that as an option for him as well.
And you can drag this and make
You can drag it,
Yeah.
and I believe it's control and you can magnify it even more. I don't know.
To get the magnifier off, sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
To get the magnifier off, because I have it on,
Mm-hmm.
how do I?
The full
So-
screen.
There is the shortcut for that. I always go back down to the bottom right because I got the worst memory in the world.
Try and click tab, and it should take you right back to that.
Tab,
Yeah. It won't turn it off. It'll take you to the.
oh, sorry.
Coming down the bottom screen. Right. You just have to imagine it took your screen and it blew it up to 500 times. So you just sort of have to like swim your way to the bottom or
Right.
swim your way to the corner
That's,
to and then once you click, you go back to
Okay.
normal.
Yeah, if you're clear over on the other corner and you're trying to get down here with the touchpad, it can be kind of
But
crazy.
tab is one of those. I used to do this all the time because I had a mouse that would get stolen from a computer lab as a kid. And tab literally is moving a selection tool for whatever the active item or button is on there. And so whatever, if you tab over on a link, you can press enter and it'll jump in, right? So you don't have to have a trackpad or a mouse in that regard. But it'll always shoot you to the topmost corner of something in the page. And then if you don't have a mouse and you need something on the bottommost part of the page, then you're sitting there tapping forever and a day, if you didn't have a mouse, right? So that's why it'll jump you to a corner really quick for sort of orientation or point of reference.
You can, so if you do Control, Alt, and you can, this is the brightness, you can zoom in and zoom out with the magnifier.
Now, if I do that down below on the bottom screen, can I do my Control plus, Control minus to enlarge that screen as well?
Let's see if we can break it. Yeah.
But notice now I'm increasing the content down below on the bottom screen, and it's now enlarging the top magnifier even more. Because again, it's taking what we're doing down low and then magnifying that up top. So again, I like this with if you're doing options with it a little bit more because it's not disorienting. It's like first time in VR. Trying to get your bearings straight.
Yeah. All right, so then those are the main ones, but then you got these automatic clicks.
This would be for someone who doesn't have the dexterity. You can see the circle that pops up anytime that you move your mouse, and it will do just that. If you hover over something, you'll start to see sort of like a progress bar around your click, and that's it selecting what that is. So Noel's sort of giving, he's teasing us here.
Well, you want me to click on that? Here.
Sure.
Here we go.
So click and hold, there's the circle around, we've clicked it, right? There's the danger of all of a sudden you're still clicking everything if all of a sudden it lands on a link right away, so you have to be sort of proactive of moving things out of the way, otherwise you can be 4 clicks in and you just meant to go to a home page of something, but.
So you can switch it to, like, if you need to double click, you switch it here.
Yeah.
Have you
Click
guys
and drag.
thought about developing a class for students for this stuff? So we have many, many students who struggle with using these tools and making sure that they are adaptive with these tools. And I've been in countless IEP meetings where we suggest these tools. And then the practicability of having the students learn from us or from their IEP teachers who may or may not have.
So what should happen is that after that IEP meeting,
Yeah.
those, either the teacher, homeroom teacher reaches out, or someone on that IEP team says, hey, tech innovator, can you come in and do a one-on-one? I've had 3 or 4 of those last year that I did. And it was just literally walking through tools that would be useful for this case scenario for this student. Do they pick it all up right away? No, it's that drinking out of a fire hose kind of mindset again. But if at least they get started with that, they know where that accessibility is, then they also start to play around with that too. But yes, there is that one-on-one because the likelihood you're going to get everyone in on that same class time, so there's ability, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I've been brought in all the time, like for the diction and things like that. And younger kids, I've had 2 or 3. But there's also that I don't want people to know,
Sure.
so sometimes it's
Well, and
just
that's what I was
one-on-one.
Thinking about,
Yeah.
thinking about a pull-out.
Pull-out, yeah, it's
a
definitely-
pull-out time where you have, like, especially if we can hit them at, like, 2nd, 3rd grade. Because, like, some kids, they got it in elementary school.
Yeah.
Snap and read is like, and they're showing other kids how to do snap and read, and I'm like, this is gonna be fun. Let's buy some headphones. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's other kids not so much. So it's
To-
just it's an issue. It's an issue.
To me, it's it's so cool to see a kid when I come in and work with them, and they're like, they light up. They're just like excited. Hey, now I can write. I know I couldn't write before. I couldn't do this, or I couldn't. It's really cool to see.
And I think it's important too for those kind of things, because the initial, here's all the tools available. You don't necessarily know if it's practical to be in that IEP meeting. It might be to just sort of talk with parents and say, here are things that we have. But in terms of like, what are the needs and what are your concerns, that's great. Then we follow up with, okay, here, this. Do a one-on-one with those students or a pull-out. But I always like doing the follow-up then too, again with comfortability of the student, but doing that follow-up in context, right?
Yeah.
So here we're in the middle of a lesson. This would be a good one to use for this right now, right? Because again, you take away from boot camp 8,000 things, and then you're like, okay, I like this, but what's the actual practical use in my classroom? How am I going to use this? How am I going to tool it?
Yeah, and just the idea of what's out there, you know. So
All right, what else
we got some large cursor highlights.
we got here? The one on-screen keyboard. It is what it is. There's nothing crazy about this. What's nice is it pops up and includes the Google features. And some of the IEP students have specialty Chromebooks already that are touchscreen, right, depending on their need. Everyone that I've worked with they're not the exact Chromebooks, I can't remember what they are, but.
The one thing there is that you can, well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
if you
don't
click,
The board doesn't work.
no. But I mean, if you do,
So
I literally oriented the other day.
it's a hodgepodge, but the orientations are so bad because I think we were one of the first schools to get like the newer ones,
Yeah.
but like they're now old new ones.
Yeah. I got
So I mean the green light's not on,
Yeah.
and that's what I tell people. If you don't see the green light or the green light's red, it's not gonna work.
I had a blinky the other day.
these bowed out too, I can tell.
Well, and they do like
Yeah,
This room.
and that happens.
we've moved the teachers out of this room. This is now just an at-risk room. So we're trying to.
Dan, you got put in the at-risk room.
It's okay.
So with the on-keyboard tools, you have the ability to write. That's impossible to read, but it's it's processing what I wrote and does spell out just on the bottom. My cursor's not anywhere in here, but if I plug it in here, I got 1, 2. Oh, we got 2 left. There we go. I click and I start writing just, right? I can actually strike through and erases things. On the flip side, I can go back to I can go back to my keyboard, and then I love this one. This is going to be key, I think, for the tablet, because it's the same keyboard that pops up on our tablets.
Yeah.
It's this same deal that pops up. This, I think, takes up too much real estate on the small screen on the tablet, and then as soon as you click this little minimize tool, I did it every.
I know. I was doing that in the new tech thing. I'm like, wait a minute.
Every presentation. Like, yeah, and then it's going to be the life of our teachers this year. Everything puts down in this little, almost like a QWERTY keyboard, right? And so you get more in phone mode, and I feel like this is more accessible to type if you're not one that likes to draw it out, or this is too big for.
So are they going to move us away from the desktops that are attached to those tablets?
Desktops are still attached. They will still remain.
Okay, but like 5 years down the road, we're going to have tablets that exclusively?
Right now we have desktops.
But they're
I have no
$900
idea.
a piece. We're not going to keep paying $900 for these desktops.
Yeah, I have no idea what the long haul is, and I know we've replaced towers, so I don't think we're moving.
We've also, I mean, okay, so they were talking about some rooms replacing the PC with a Chromebox, which is a Chromebook that's on the back. Yeah, it doesn't have all the capabilities of a tower, but the thing with that is you can cast it. So hopefully they'd get some that are a little more amped up. The custodians things right now have Chromeboxes, but I don't know what the direction is now. We have a new director, so it's going to be, but that was talked about, is not totally getting rid of the hard line and everything, but going to a
Well, here
Chromebox.
we used to have 2 desktops, one here and one in our office, and now we just have 1. And I was like, well, it's gonna start to reduce. I think that's.
Yeah.
Well, and you gotta think, you've got 3 options in your hand, right? Or you will. You'll have your desktop, you've got your executive Chromebooks, you've got your tablets. So you got multiple points to use and whatever feels comfortable.
We don't have tablets yet.
They're coming. They're on their way for you guys, and I know it's part of the phase process, but ideally everyone will have 3 to roll with. Going back to the keyboard here, down on the bottom, you can move this as well to where you want. Sorry, just listen. And then of course you can use the microphone.
But like, is it
dictate.
big enough to thumb it like your phone, or?
On the tablet, it is. I was using it on
Is
one
it
corner.
Just with one.
I am not
one-
as but it does have a stylus.
My daughter's crazy. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, no,
It's stupid.
I don't have that coordination.
Yeah. Well,
But you can use the stylus too, and you could write, like we were showing there. If you wrote it out, you could do that too. But
The one that drives you crazy, every kid's got it, large mouse cursor, they have it on for fun, but it just makes your mouse bigger, draws your eye, draws your attention to it. Makes sense for students who have a hard time with that kind of tracking of things.
if I'm doing like tutorials and stuff, I might turn something like that on, or the highlight. Is that the next one?
No!
What is it doing?
Turn on automatic clicks.
Oh,
Okay. Mono audio, so no.
yeah. So
But the highlight mouse?
So, Dan, when you're using the mono audio, you're more of a sound guy. What would you use that for?
Well, how would I use it?
Well, I mean, for a
No.
student, yeah.
I know. So maybe a student is hard of hearing. Sometimes things are mixed, so it is stereo, right? Like I've got more guitar coming out of left speaker, I've got audio or voice coming out of right, and the mix is just more spread. It makes us feel more immersed in what's going on. Well, if I got a kid who's totally deaf out of his ear, I'm not going to hear anything that's coming out of that. A good common practice. This is what I was going with,
Yeah.
like how I handle this in the classroom. I had a setup this year at Walcott that I had a mono plug. I went into stereo, but it still came out mono. But it was a stereo mixed track, which means that I was still getting the feed of this, but when I played it, I was getting the way that it was mixed. I was getting all of the instrumental only, and then the vocal. It sounded like it was distant, right? Because I was getting the small percentage of volume that was mixed into that track that it's receiving. Stereo to mono, or what do they call it? Mono audio.
Mono.
Automatically just turns it into a mono mix, meaning everything that's in the input just gets spread between all speakers the same. So it takes away the stereo mix of something, so that if someone is hard of hearing on one side or the other, I'm at least hearing everything that I would out of the speaker out of the side that I can't hear well. Highlight text caret. This is nice too. This is one of those that as I move around the screen, maybe I go back.
Yeah, it came out.
It did, but I want to.
Yeah, to go to.
Okay, I'm in the document. Here we go. Did it turn it on?
It was on.
Yeah, it's on.
Maybe it's one of those slow things again, because it.
Oh, right. Fine. It's showing up here. So
Yeah.
just like that, you can see where I click into. It highlighted with that little circle. There.
You have to click. So if it's this slow, it's not going to help anybody. But normally it comes up right when they're clicking on it.
And so as you're typing, let me get that. As I'm typing, it should. Right? So in a text document, I can follow where I'm working and what I'm doing. And I don't have to I don't have to type in order to start seeing
Yeah,
that, right? And like, there's my line of text. Oh, I can follow along. And as I click, it'll do that as well, so I know where I'm at and able to type.
How about just making the smartboard look better? I mean, look at the smartboard. It looks like crap. It's hard to read what's on it.
New
It's
projector.
better if you get a digital,
So it's
projector.
It's this smartboard. That's what-
I got one of the first in the district, I guess, and it was shocking, the clarity. I mean, compared to what it was prior. I thought I just needed a new light bulb, and then to initially, that's what I thought I was getting, and then he came in and installed the whole new system. And it's, like I said, it really shows
'Cause
crisp and
what-
easy to read.
There's a couple of things that go along with that, and I can bore you with all of that, and I will. So, no. Essentially, there's a couple of things going on, right? Right now, I'm hardwiring a different monitor coming in, and I'm doing a dual screen. I have a different resolution than what maybe this projector is set at. So it's a conflict of resolution between here to there. I can increase here, and that's going to clear that up a little bit, but now we're losing out on a lot of landscape of what I'm showing you and some of that navigation part. So some of it might just be simply changing the projector to match the display settings of your desktop, or changing the settings for the class moderator to match. And that sometimes comes up with people like, I have these black bands everywhere. Why do I have those? Well, it's a discrepancy between those display settings. So as we're bouncing through a lot of the laptops and moving from room to room, we sort of are finding, oh shoot, okay, right, we're stuck in that.
That's
5 minutes before and trying to adjust.
I got a history in Hollywood class, and we watch a lot of movies, and the
Yeah.
kids are like, "Oh my God, Mr. Defoe, this movie looks terrible on your screen," and I'm like, "Dude, it's what I got."
Yeah.
So the new ones, yeah, they're
So,
9-foot diagonal screen,
yes.
and that last year when we were talking about getting new projectors, I'm like, we need to do this now, because I went in like the one room, it's like 12-year-old, whatever, it's Riverboat Grant,
Yeah.
Epson 83 or whatever from, yeah. These are actually newer than those, but they're still not great. And when you hook up different things, but these should be set up so that they're a 9-foot screen resolution with either the PC or the Chromecast.
Just for the 2 minutes that we have, 3 minutes, I want to finish the rest of these because there's 2 more highlighting things. The highlight mouse is one of those. Notice move and turn that on. The circle around it is red, which I draw out because if I still have my highlight caret, that's in blue, my mouse is in red, so I can follow and track those a little easier, and it will work in tandem with the large mouse cursor as well. Doesn't increase the circle, but you can have both of those work at the same time. A lot of these you can overlap and stack too, but highlight objects with keyboard focus.
I have not.
I don't know what keyboard focus one is.
Oh, maybe it's when is it moving around with the keyboard?
That's the same as the other.
I don't think that's, yeah.
No, browse that one. Don't use
It's
that one.
probably something really important that we just don't know about.
And then sticky keys. You can hit this one. I like this one. We use this for kindergarten, preschool.
So you can set a different key, right?
Right. Sticky keys allows you to do a button press or a series of button presses without having to hold multiple, right? So if you're doing a Control-Alt-Delete, you don't have to press and hold all of that button combination. It's sticky key. Press, press, press. It's a combo.
But then if they turn that on, you gotta know
Yeah.
what's happening. It's got to be a purposeful thing, yeah. I think that's it though. I had
That's
some other
everything
things.
that's built in.
Everything is built in.
There are some additional things, the snap and read, those are all the add-ons. These are things that are just built into the Chromebook. These are things that are accessible right out of the gate, so you don't have to go digging around and say, do we have this, can we add this, can we, and of course there might be other better products out there, more effective products, but I mean with Google, a lot of like the types of speech to text kind of stuff is pretty spot on.
Yeah, it used to not be the greatest, but they keep updating it, and you can see that. Like when you do the diction and the speech, it used to just read it. You had no control over the speed or anything like that, but now they've added that in. So
And
I
just
think
like
it will
any-
keep improving.
And just like any Google product, they'll take feedback, right? And they'll take that into consideration and go with it. And some of the things that you see in YouTube, right? Same company. When we just built in this, you'll see there's similar tools that then get associated with that accessibility feature too.
Makes sense.
Cool. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And if you won't have
Yeah.
any questions, please reach out. If you have those one-on-ones that we need to have, please definitely.
Oh,
reach out.
I will be signing Scott up.
That'd be great. He would love it.
He actually has come in a couple times for like groups of students and like led question discussions.
So most of the time, and the problem is, and I'll just say it, we don't know. because we bounce so many times. So if no one's reaching out
Well,
and saying, "Hey, we have this,"
He's
can
only
you
here
do
one day a week now. So.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we
that's
have, we have flexibility that we can carve out a time and we can work, unless we've got some